right, quiet on the set.
All right, gotcha.
This weekend SEC football promo. Take 2. Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's your guy, Mr. Fingers, coming to you live from Zagnif Central.
Hey, and I'm Collin P, your brother from another. What it is, showbiz?
I will tell you what it is, showbiz. You guys, welcome to this week's edition of This Week in SEC Football. But before we get started, do us a little favor. If you're watching us on the YouTube, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button if you have not done so already. We appreciate you much. And if you want to be a contributor to the show, a little something to help the cause, right down there in the bottom, in the lower third, in the crawl, rolling across your screen is the address for our Patreon page. We got some great perks for those of you that are contributors and regular viewers of the show, because we appreciate you so very, very much. So, Collin, my man, I think it's time to get this show started. What you say?
My man, let's lay the hammer down.
Oh, you know we gonna do something before 2 something. Club Shay Shay coming right at you right after this. Oh, hello, ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls.
What Bama does, what Bama do.
Have you ever felt?
Are you listening? Damn. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, gang, what's going on? How you doing? How are you doing? How are you doing? You, and you, the 4 of you that are here watching us live today in studio, because NFL football is back. From the Reverend, as the Reverend Red Black said the other night. Oh, man, it's good to be here. Thank you for joining us for episode number 23 of season 2 of This Week in SEC Football. As always, I am Mr. Fingers, coming to you from Zagnif live in Central, and that guy right there is the brother from another, the sexy Mother Hubbard, the ace of base in the place in your face. I am very happy to be here. This is my favorite part of the game. Collin P from the DMV, who don't care what you say, because the day is his birthday. I threw that freestyle on the end there.
Oh man, that's what they call what they call bars. That's bars, absolutely bars. You're getting too good at that, man.
What's going on, my man? Good to see you, bro. Happy birthday.
Hey, what it is, showbiz? I'm doing good, man. Doing great. Had a good day at work. I had to take half a day for myself, went in at 10, got off at 2, you know what I'm saying? Got my boy off the bus, and we kind of hung out a little bit, but then mom came pick him up. I'm enjoying my birthday. You know how it is when you get older, though. I'm sure I'm going to be, like, as soon as we get done with the podcast, I'm probably just going to chill on my couch. Ain't going to be no use in going out and, hammering it down. I'll stay at the house and hammer it down.
Oh man, you gonna lay the hammer down at the house, huh?
That's right.
Hey girl, what you doing? Nah, I'm just chilling at the house. Yeah, it's your boy's birthday. Oh, you rode through, bring some pizza rolls? Oh, that's what's up.
Absolutely. So how you been, man?
I've been good, man. I've been busy. What you think of that new intro, my friend?
I love it. I absolutely love it. Yes, sir. I like it. You said you saw me jamming with it with the camera cut to us. I saw me jamming.
I saw you, man. I saw you getting it in. Hey, shouts out to our guy Andrew Forbear, friend of the show. We call him, for those of us, we call him. We got another nickname for him. That's for us though. We go keep that. But he was the one that started this whole thing with everybody else going, man, maybe we need to start, all the Let's Talk Football shows had it. With that, I hope the internet connection is holding up, because I'm kind of doing this thing where it looks like I'm jumping around there. Anyway,
you're going a little in and out, but you be back now. You good?
Yeah. Well, anyway, We want to thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate you. We're not going to keep you long today. We just want to come and talk about a few games that are on tap this weekend. There are several games on tap this weekend. We're just going to talk to you about a few of them. The first one we're going to jump into, of course, what we're going to talk about. First off, we're just going to jump right into it. We're not gonna miss no words or nothing like that. We're gonna get it started. We know that this team was ranked #1 in the country when the polls came out, and as Colin likes to say,
The Bama does what Bama do.
so Alabama beat up on Utah State, and this week they're taking on Texas. Now,
Yep.
I'm gonna come to you first. What you got for Bama, Texas?
I mean, we both know that after last year, Bama's got an extra grind. They're going to come out hot, and they showed that. I mean, I don't know if that's really a test that actually put them against Utah State like that. I mean, we kind of figured they were going to do with Utah State what they did. Texas, I mean, that's another story. I mean, you look at them. I mean, I don't know. Like we talk on the phone. Anything could happen. You know what I'm saying? But I don't foresee that Alabama's going to have too much trouble with them. I mean, they're picked to win by 20. I think they're probably going to win by at least 30. But I don't know. I mean, maybe we get a surprise and Texas gives them a game. I don't know. What say you? I mean, like maybe it'll be a game. The first half, you know how Alabama does. I mean, like first half they may dangle the carrot a little bit, and then second half they run away.
don't
So I
think
mean,
so.
I don't know if that's going to happen now.
I don't think so. I think Nick Saban's goal this year is to humiliate as many people as possible.
I can see
He's
that.
not happy with having lost the national championship.
Oh
He's
yeah.
not happy with what Jimbo Fisher has had to say. He's not happy with NIL situation. You getting some happy birthday love in the comments from man AJ Johnson's out there
I
watching.
appreciate y'all.
Our boy Donnie's watching. The Godfather threw us a little shout out there. I know a lot of people right now are watching Bills and Rams, and that's perfectly okay. We haven't gotten to that status yet where people will choose us over NFL football. So that's perfectly all right. We still here.
Maybe
We're gonna
one
do
day.
nah, bro. We got a long ways to go. NFL got a,
Hey,
NFL got 100-year history and a multi-billion dollar bankroll in front of them.
Hey, I got a question for you, Fingers. I mean, since we're talking about Alabama, Texas, what do you think about this horns down thing? The guy, one of the
I think it's getting way out of hand. I heard about that they're going to penalize anybody that does horns down. I think
15 yards. Yeah.
I think that I think that they're doing marvelous things as far as in terms of trying to keep the players safe with the calls, in terms of like targeting and horse collar tackling and tackling below the knee and blocking below the knee and things of that nature. But I think some of these penalties are just getting silly. I mean,
it's just it comes
you
down
know
to
what I
like
mean?
feelings. I mean, it takes away from the rivalry stuff. You know what I mean? In my
It's
opinion.
not, yeah. It's not like they're throwing around racial slurs, demeaning or minimalizing any group out there, whether they be minority groups, whether they be gender groups, gender groups or classes or anything like that. They're just saying, "Hey, look, we're better than you. Horns down, boom." That's all.
And it's not like they're throwing mustard, man.
Yeah, they're
Mustard or
not
golf.
throwing.
I mean, hand gestures is what it is. That's all it comes down to. I mean, that's a collegiate. I mean, that's a rivalry type thing. They take it away from the fun, in my opinion.
So we got a thing here. Mr. The Godfather says that's hey Sean, that name is sticking, brother. Every nickname we give you sticks because it's true to form. The shout out king, the Godfather, one half of the founding members of the Let's Talk Football family. He says that there's an upset alert, and he says, prove me wrong without talking about NIL last year or Georgia. Now, if you're talking about an upset alert for this week as far as Texas and Alabama, I'm kind of here for it. Now, the reason that I say that, Alabama has a relatively young team. They did show up and show out against Utah State last week. You got a Texas team that did return a goodly amount of starters. They looked really solid. Yes, everybody had their tune-up games last week, but they looked really solid. Offense looked solid. Defense looked solid. Now, here's the thing. The key to Texas, one of the keys to Texas winning this game is that Alabama played a really complete game last week. Offense, defense, special teams, whole nine. Texas is 5 for 13 on third down against University of Louisiana Monroe. Okay? I could see if they were playing Oklahoma or an Ohio State or a Michigan, they went 5 of 13 against ULM. They're going to have huh?
Sorry to interrupt you. How would you relate La Monroe and Utah State? Would you compare them as kind of equals, or would you think Utah State's a better team than La Monroe, or what would you think? That's kind of where I'm at with that. You know what I mean?
Well, we know that D1 is definitely classes to the point of haves versus have-nots, and I don't want to say that. I mean, we're still talking about the best football players in the country on all of these squads.
Sure.
Each and every one of these teams has the best football players in the country on their squads by how they were evaluated. But we also know there's a clear and dividing line between where the cream separates from the top of the, where the head separates from the beer, where the head separates from the beer. And at the top of that level right now, following last year, you've got, I'm going to say it, Sean. I won't say the name of the team, but you know the name. that team is out there by Atlanta. Then you got your Alabamas, you got your Ohio States, you got your Michigans, you got, to a degree, you got your Clemson. They didn't necessarily look so great last year, but you got your Clemsons, that kind of thing. And then right there at the tier and a half is where I would put Oklahoma. That's where I would put I forgot to mention Michigan in there also. I put Michigan top tier because at least based on last year. But then you got your Ole Misses, you got your Texas A&Ms, you got your Arkansas, you got the scrappy teams with those 8, 9, 10 win records. So, well, I'm okay.
Let me back up. What was the question? Like upset alert? Was he saying like
I think the question is that Sean is saying that this game is right for upset alert. And I think this game right here that we're talking about. And if I'm wrong, Sean, please let me know in the comments. I think that's what he's saying. But right now, I'm just answering. Colin's question.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, those two teams are kind of on that same tier: Louisiana Monroe, Utah State. That's to answer your question.
I agree with you.
Now to get to Sean's question, what I think that Texas is really going to have to work on. They're really going to have to give them more on third down. And they really need to open up the pass and the run. They really need to open up their pass and their run game. And they're going to have to make sure that O-line is on point. And Bama got 3 sacks and a pick 6 last week. And you understand what I'm saying? You have to have a complete game. This Bama team that played last week, you're going to have a complete game. Do I think that Texas can beat them? I 100% agree with Sean that this Texas squad can beat Alabama. Last year, any given Saturday, pad on pad. We talked about that all the time. I'm not going to disagree with you on that, Sean. I think this game is a little more evenly matched up than everybody's giving it credit for. They talk about the SEC bias, and then there's SEC bias, and then there's Bama bias. So they're getting both of those. I think they're evenly matched. It's just a matter of what it's going to come down to is execution and coaching on the Texas side is what it's going to come down to.
Yeah. So, I mean, you mentioned something earlier about, Bama being young. I mean, it just brings me back to the question or back to the comment that, Saban said that last year about rebuilding year was last year, So, I mean, will he make an excuse again? Like, I mean, if per chance he gets beat by Texas, he throw that kind of, I mean, that's unorthodox for me to hear those kinds of excuses from Saban. So I'm just saying that I think you're right. I think he is a little bit bent about last year. So, I mean, I think they're going to come out with all guns blazing. So, I mean, I can see this game getting away out of hand, after halftime. But I mean, you're right. You and Sean are right. I mean, I could see Texas maybe pulling away, maybe winning.
Definitely. I'm gonna have a close eyeball on that game all day. I mean, I'm still gonna watch.
And plus, it's in Texas, right? I mean, it's in
and it's in Texas, and they're, we talk about rabid football fans.
Cool.
Texas is still a hard play. Aside, you just wanted us to. He just wanted us to break it down by talking about the team in the game. Can they beat Bama? Yeah, it's 100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. No, I see what Sean is getting at now. I see what Sean is getting at now. I think they match up. Oh, I think they do. They match up O line to D line just based on what I saw last week alone. Their O line can match up with Bama's D line. Their defense can match up against Alabama's offense. Do I think it can happen? I definitely do. Do I think it will happen? That's the thing. I think Alabama wins this thing by double digits, and I'm talking at least. I'm talking at least. Well, Sean, I think they're going to have another game to answer to your point, Sean. This right here, he makes the valid point. Bama only barely eked by Florida last year. I think they're going to have an eke by game, and Texas could be that eke by game. Because looking at their schedule, there's not a whole heck of a lot on their schedule that scares me that anybody else can step up to them. Not in the West. Ole Miss has taken a step back, not a huge step back, but Ole Miss is taking a step back. Arkansas, I got to see a little bit more. I got to see more out of Arkansas. I got to see a little bit more out of A&M. But though, if there's any two teams that I think right now in the West can jump up and beat Alabama, you got Texas A&M. Jimbo Fisher's got that formula now. It's almost like trying to execute a very difficult move on a bike or solving a Rubik's Cube or cooking an impossible recipe. You never can seem to get it right, but once you get it right, you got it from that point going forward. Okay, perfect case. The best example I can give you is when the 07 Giants beat the Patriots, and then they had the rematch. And at that point, Coughlin had the formula. He knew what he had to do, so he came back and he did it again. So if it's not Texas, I'm definitely leaning to. If it's not Texas, I'm definitely leaning towards A&M.
Well, it begs the question. I mean, you look down their schedule, look down Alabama's schedule, you look down, you see LSU. LSU's down, way down on that schedule. And, depending on what Brian Kelly does, what kind of improvement he has between now and then, could you see that being a test for him?
Well, I think LSU. Well, we're going to get into LSU. We'll talk about them in a minute. I don't see LSU the way LSU played this. The way LSU played this past Saturday. The answer to that is hell no to the no.
Hey, there's only one way to go, and that's up. Only way one is.
Wait, you think that LSU team that played on Saturday is going to be bad?
What?
Don't see it happening.
Hey, I didn't say they were. I said that. Hey, any given Saturday, bro. I'm telling you.
I don't think the given Saturday is going to be that particular Saturday. I'm just saying.
I don't think it's be that forgiving, huh? I got you. All right, I got you.
Yeah, I mean LSU now, Sean. We'll get to that. I'm gonna talk about LSU in a minute. Hang on, man. I'm gonna get there.
That's where I was going, Sean.
We ain't got past the first game yet.
You're in my brain. You're in my brain, Sean. That's where I was
going. Hey, we'll get there. We'll get there, sir. We'll get there. We're gonna talk about LSU. We're gonna talk about LSU in a minute. Skip Bayless, it is not your turn. We know what LSU did this coming Saturday, but we're gonna get to that in a minute. We're gonna move on.
So we can't get much worse, but maybe we can. It's my first game, but maybe we can get worse. I don't know yet.
Yeah. Now the next game that I want to talk about. Matter of fact, since Sean brought up LSU, we'll go ahead and we'll jump into that. LSU has Southern this coming Saturday. Now that might not be on paper. That might not be much of a challenge per se for LSU. But this game is essentially going to be the do or die litmus test for the season, I think, for both Brian Kelly and LSU. Period. If they go out there, I mean, there can be no other acceptable outcome for this game other than a blowout. They can't barely eke by. They can't fall behind and come back. They've got to go out there and run Southern. Good Lord, the water's getting me again. They got to go out there and run Southern off the field.
There's no line on this game anyway. So I mean, there should
because like Sean said last week, LSU came back and almost tied that game. Were it not for my personal opinion, were it not for those two bad special teams plays, we're talking about an entirely different outcome altogether.
Sure.
I mean, And even then, LSU was lucky that FSU muffed that pitch attempt down on the goal line. Again, I don't know who does that
Right.
at all, why they do that.
I
But
don't
one of the keys to the game for LSU is they've got to get their wide receivers more involved in the game.
Yeah.
They've got to get them more involved in the game. Jaden, he had 114 yards rushing. That's all well and good. That's all well and good when you're not struggling to win. That's all well and good when is that what he said on First Take? I didn't even see First Take. Stop playing with me. Is that exactly what he said? I didn't even see First Take. See,
What
see,
he say?
that's
Repeat that.
I guess Shannon Sharp must have said there would have been a different. If I'm guessing, he said, "You know what, Skip? If it hadn't been for those couple of muff punts, then maybe we'd be talking about a whole different game altogether. Brian Kelly would be the hero of LSU, and they'd be having a ticker tape parade down the middle of the street. That's all I got to say about it. That's probably what he. That's probably exactly what he said. I didn't even see First Take today. I didn't see First Take at all. But I feel that Jaden Daniels is a truly gifted athlete. We saw what he did last week, but when you are trying to rebuild a program, he asked why they ran a toss at the goal line. Okay, see, one of the two. I knew it was in the neighborhood. See, you know what? There was one thing about Shay is I don't need a GPS, but if you give me some general directions and put me, say, turn left at the Kroger, I'll be in the right neighborhood. I'll make my way there because wherever Shay go, that's where the party's gonna be. But my point in that is that God, I forgot where I was going with this. When you're definitely in a rebuilding season, it's good to have superstars, but you have to have everybody contribute to the game because you got a lot of guys came back this year because Brian Kelly came. A lot of guys came back this year because they came back because they wanted to. There's still there were some guys that were underclassmen that are still there. They were underclassmen when they won the championship. They wanted one more shot at one more run at it. And these guys came back. They might have been considering transferring after they let Coach O go. And they're like, all right, they're bringing in Brian Kelly. I'm going to stay. Let's see what this is going to be. And if you got this one guy, being a superstar, the Eddie Kane of the Five Heartbeats.
And I was going to say that he was the leading rusher and the leading passer. I'm like, he did everything.
Yeah.
Like it watched
right.
Game, like,
He had
114 yards rushing and like 200 yards or passing and 2 touchdowns. Like he was the show. So you're right. I mean, they need some other people to step up.
And like I said, that's well and good if LSU had a better than if LSU had won anywhere between 8 and 10 games last year. 8 or 9, even 8 or 9 would have been acceptable given all of the circumstances of what was going on, the players that they lost to the draft, Coach O kind of falling off the wagon, literally and figuratively. That would have been more acceptable. But this is a team that floundered last year. This team, they don't just need that spark from him. They need, as a quarterback, his job as a quarterback. He is the head of that team on that offense. His job is to spark all of his guys. You understand?
Yeah, he needs a supporting cast. Like every other football, he needs a supporting cast on offense, and he needs somebody to help him out.
I mean, they need this win. The reason that they need this win is because they're going through murderer's row. After this week, 8 of their last 10 games are all in conference. They are playing in this order. They will be playing Mississippi State, New Mexico State, Auburn, Tennessee, Florida, Ole Miss, Bama, Arkansas, UAB, and Texas A&M. They're closing out the season. They're going through murderer's row. If they can't get it right, if they can't get it right this weekend, they might as well go ahead and wrap it up. Now, to go back to our picks, Collin and Sean picked Southern to win, and I just went out on the limb and picked Southern. Collin and Sean both picked LSU to win, and I picked Southern to win. I just went out on a limb just to be the outlier. Do I realistically think that Southern could win this game? How did we do week 1 with all our picks? I'll get with you on that. We'll talk about that next week because I didn't even bother to extrapolate that. And we didn't go through all of the teams. I think we stopped short because the season started. So We'll get there. We'll get there. That's another Jameis Winston. We'll get there. Week 1 is coming up. Week 1 is coming gone, but we'll get there. But here's another thing. So they're going through Murderers Row, number one. My prediction is that LSU pulls this out by like 10 or 15, but it's going to be, after last week, you got Kayshon Boutte supposedly strips his, that's the new thing now. I'm stripping I'm mad at my team, so I'm taking all my stuff off my Twitter, like a recalcitrant 5-year-old. Just grow up. That's all I got to say about that. You're a grown man. You know better than that. You just take all your toys and go home because you didn't win a game. Son, if you've been playing football long enough, and one thing that you should know is that sometimes you're going to win and sometimes you lose. It's not how you handle things when you win that make you a great player. It's how you handle things when you lose. That's Shay Shay's word for the day. Listen to Unc. I played for a few years. I know a little.
You ain't going to get no trophy.
Yeah, you ain't going to get no participation trophy. Not in this league. You're not. What was it say? So he's got 3 receivers, right? That came back. 3 receivers that came back, and I wrote the names down, and I wanted to make sure I pronounced it properly, Sean, just so you know. They got Jeray Jenkins, Malik Neighbors, and oh my Lord, Kyron Lacey. I can't read my own handwriting. But last year, those 3 receivers, they struggled on offense with their passing game last year, but those 3 receivers combined for 1,500 yards and 14 touchdowns. Last week, Jenkins was the only receiver. He got 2 touchdowns. He had 46 yards and 2 touchdowns, and all 3 of them combined for 80 yards in reception. 3 receivers, 3 of your returning experienced receivers had 80 yards combined receiving, and Kayshon Boutte only had 2 passes, 2 receptions for 20 yards. You got to get your receivers involved in this game, because if you're playing Southern, this is HBS, this is HBCU. Yes, they're a smaller school, but they study tape too. They're gonna go in there and say they got no passing game. We're gonna run in there and load them up. We're gonna load them up in the box on the run and hopefully tire them out. Even though we're a smaller school and they might be bigger, stronger, we're gonna try and tire them out in the box and force them to pass.
Yeah.
So
it needs to spread it around a little more too. I mean, like he did. He hit 4 or 5. Yeah, he did. But one pass here and there.
He hit 6, 7 different receivers in the game. I didn't write all their names down. He did hit 6 or 7 different receivers.
Oh yeah, I got it here.
But they didn't accumulate a whole bunch of yards passing. And this is the SEC, bro. This is not the SEC of old, where you just 3 yards in a cloud of dust, where some of the greatest running backs to play the game in the modern era came from, where you got your Bo Jacksons, who unfortunately had a short career, your Herschel Walkers, you understand I don't like to say his name out loud, Emmett. But
say it. He's been going for a minute.
I'll be all right. You know what, Emmett? Much respect. You just played for the wrong team in college. That's all. And if Sean,
Herschel played with Dallas. Remember that? Herschel did play with Dallas.
You're talking about Gators. I'm sorry. I'm talking about Gators. I'm talking about Gators. I'm talking about the Gators. You made me say it. You made me say it 3 times now. Don't make me say it no more. Because if I say it 2 more, he gonna show up with a hook in his hand with a body made out of bees. It looked like a movie I seen on TV one time. But
friends don't let friends wear orange, right?
Right. Friends don't let friends wear orange. I got that shirt. I got some ugly looks sometimes when people be like, "Well, Oklahoma wears orange too." I said, "Nah, it's like burnt sienna, like that burnt sienna crayon in the 64 box." It's like, "Nah, it's like dark orange." I'm like, you know what? All of y'all need vision testing. Y'all need to leave me alone and let me buy my salad so I can get out of here. Anyway, while you at it, let me get $10 on Pump 5. But my point in all of that is that LSU has really this is the week. I mean, this week is not going to be the catalyst for the remainder of the season. But if LSU can't put together a win this week, their season is. You can go ahead and throw their season away. I'm going to say it. If they don't win, if LSU does not win this Saturday, you can throw the whole season away. Because ain't no way in hell, Skip Bayless, you can tell me that they're going to lose to Southern University and then they're going to come back and beat Auburn, Tennessee, Florida, Ole Miss, all of them, plus Nick and them mad. You know how Nick and them play when they're mad. Nick and them play like Ike Turner with 3 bourbon and Cokes in him when he mad.
Talking about deflation. I mean, if that don't deflate your confidence, and ain't nothing with them. Like seriously, they need that win. I mean, if they lose, that's over. I'm with you totally.
Yeah, that 100%. So, Brian Kelly, if you're watching this, go home and pray with your family. Go smooth things over with Keyshawn Boutte. Didn't help matters much. I mean, who the hell? What coach in their right mind throws their team under the bus at halftime? I mean, how do you at 18? How you're 18 years old, 19 might be your first time away from home. You're out there playing football, trying to hopefully get in the league and make some money, and your coach go on TV and say some foolishness like this right here.
Opportunities there in that first half, but you're only down by 4. What was your message?
We can't play any worse than that, I don't think. I mean, it's my first game. Maybe we can.
I mean, completely threw them all the way up under the. I mean, he didn't just bump them by accident and go, "Oh, my bad," and snatch them up like Superman. He just bumped them all the way under the bus and kicked them under the rear tires all the way and just watched them roll down the street.
Did he lie though? I mean, that's not something you want to tell your team, but I mean,
well, no, but that's not the thing you go and say on national television, because at the end of the day, it all falls on the coach.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, the players have to do their part too.
He's a motivator, right? He's a motivator.
Mr. Spencer, I'm getting to that, man. Don't get ahead of me, man. I'm preaching the sermon about Jonah and the whale. I done talked about Jonah getting swallowed. You on the other end talk about how he got spit up. They did come back and they looked very good in the second half, but I mean, and he was able to motivate them to play in the second half. But at the same time, if I'm a kid and it's my first time away from home, I'm afraid and got lucky enough to get on the travel squad to actually play and suit up. If I'm a kid that transferred in from another school and coach told me all these great and wonderful things about how great a player I am and how I'm going to be a contribution, and my coach goes on television and said, "We can't play any worse." And then here's the kicker. Did he lie? No, he didn't. But here's the kicker. He tried to absolve. This is the statement that he made where he was trying to absolve himself. It's like, this is my first year.
Oh, yeah.
But to be completely honest, they did play better in the second half. They did come back. They did make it a close, tight game, and that is a testament. That's the testament to suck up a gut. That
was one thing that surprised me. I've never heard Brian Kelly talk like that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, maybe I wasn't paying attention, but I never heard him talk like that when he coached Notre Dame. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I don't remember hearing him. But maybe that's his coaching style. I mean, maybe coaches sometimes grab players by the face mask and headbutt them or whatever and get in their face and whatever. Maybe Brian Kelly's like, all right, well, I'm just going to belittle them a little bit and see if they play better. I mean, it's a slippery slope, right? It's a slippery slope. I mean,
first year coach, first game, nah. First year coach, game 6, game 7, okay. Game 1, we just got to keep your head in the game. We just got to keep our heads in the game.
And they're down by 4.
I understand. I completely understand it. I was watching that game, but maybe I'm just thinking a little different. I'm not a coach, but to me, I'm constantly thinking about how I'm gonna phrase stuff and I say stuff because I don't want it to ever look XYZ. You understand what I'm saying? Now,
that might be the problem. That might be the world we're living in now. Everybody, I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I mean,
but
to
not get too far off the beaten path, to wrap this up in a little Debbie Swiss cake roll, because I like my little Debbie's. That's one thing Nick Saban and I share in common. I like my little Debbie's, although I don't eat the oatmeal pies. I like the Swiss cakes. He likes the oatmeal pies. Yeah, Miss Terry brings my oatmeal pie this morning. She was very happy we won, so I got 2 after. Then she let me have them before breakfast. So, anyway, to wrap this up in the bun, Coach Kelly and the Tigers they got to come out, and they got to come out strong. They got to come out hard. They got to step on their feet. They got to step on. I mean, not literally, but they got to step on their necks, run them over, run through them, run around them, whatever they got to do. Because if they lose this game or have a poor showing in this game, I'm not looking for anything great out of them for the rest of the season. And to be completely honest, I had them winning 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I only had them winning 5 games to begin with. Like, I had them losing to FSU. I got them losing to Southern. And I might have to go back and reevaluate because I had them losing to Auburn, Florida, Ole Miss, Bama, and Arkansas, and Texas A&M. I don't see them winning but one. I only have them winning 1 game in the West this season so far.
Wow. I mean, that's not too
On my
far-fetched.
prediction, huh?
So that's not too far fetched. I mean, from what we saw, I mean, like,
Yeah,
granted, the second half was different. The first half, I mean, it's all about growth. We'll see how they do.
yeah,
That was the first
yeah.
game, We'll see how they do.
Yeah, well, we're going to keep this thing moving, ladies and gentlemen. We talked about this one particular game a lot longer than we intended to, but we didn't come to keep you long today anyway, because we know that there's another game on that you all are a lot more interested in watching, where some people that are making some actual money, unlike us. By the way, speaking of, if you want to be a sponsor, the bottom corner over there under Collin. Nope, I'm sorry. The bottom corner under me, right there, is our Patreon page. We have tiers as low as $1. For the cost of $1 a month, you can become a regular supporter of the This Week in SEC Football show. You get a nice little T-shirt. This Week in SEC T-shirt with the branded logo for the Zagnif apparel, all of that good stuff. So check that out. Anyway, the Bills and the Rams are playing right now. Somebody give me a score update in the comments, please. If you are watching, we appreciate you checking us out. But real quick, we're gonna do a solid to our guy that's giving us some love this season and sponsoring the show. You know him, you love him, Mr. Sid Swinton and Squid Rips Cards. We'll be right back after this. Yes, indeed. That's our guy, Sid Swinton. Squid Rips Cards. Find him on TikTok. He's live a couple times a week. He's also on Sundays, part of the Let's Talk Football family of podcasts. I got it right this time. I didn't call it the Let's Talk family. The Let's Talk Football family of podcasts with Let's Talk Fantasy Football. Along with his lovely Mrs. Swinton's pop quiz. I missed that. I hope that'll come back soon. That'll be back when they do Let's Talk Football in the morning. We're gonna move on to our next game, South Carolina versus Arkansas, and we're really just touching on a couple of games that we think will be some key games this week, some key matchups that could affect the outcome of the remainder of their season and their potential standing in either the playoffs or a shot at making it to the SEC championship. I want to talk about South Carolina versus Arkansas. I'm going to come to you first and let you give me your 2 cents while I check the comments here.
I would just say that Spencer Rattler needs to show a little bit more than he did last week against Arkansas.
Guarantee. I'm sorry, I meant to say amen, but yeah, I agree with you.
But I mean, he didn't show me nothing. Like, honestly, he showed me absolutely very minimal on the way he was touted and being this player he was supposed to be. Didn't really show me much. So I mean, he's got to either develop more or to play calling. I don't know what. I'm not sure what needs to change. But he was only 23 of 37 for 227 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks.
That's it right there.
And KJ was pretty stellar. I mean, like, he was 18 for 26, 223 and 3 touchdowns. So I mean, it just depends, how Spencer Rattler plays, and and you got Bell. He's got to run the rock. So I mean, this is an 8.5 point game. The Arkansas was picked by 8.5. So I mean, I can definitely see them 8.5.
8.5? Really?
Yes.
I don't know, man. We all the way around, we picked Arkansas to win this one.
Yeah,
I'll stand
tall with
that. Especially after what I saw this past weekend. I mean, you can't.
Not only will they win, they'll cover.
The biggest complaints about Spencer Rattler was his inconsistency, his inconsistency, and he didn't really seem to be seeing the sample size that I've gotten of him in college now with his years at Oklahoma and now his first game at South Carolina. It makes me wonder if he's one of those kids that was just great because he played in a league that didn't have a whole lot of competition. I mean, people are saying the same thing about, not to get into this other discussion again, because we're going to let that rest till off season. But a certain young man who's got a famous uncle and a dad that played dad and granddad that played at professional level, who's playing mediocre at best right now, but is being very highly touted as a recruit. Maybe it's just that he played in the competition wasn't all that great. Now he's in the, and we've talked about this before. You go from
And that's the
certain
danger.
levels.
That's the danger of hopping conferences. You know what I mean? And that's the danger of thinking you're going to get it in when you fit in, and it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be what you thought it was. I mean, maybe it needs to take a little bit of time to get comfortable. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe
He's been playing college ball 3 years now. It's the same no matter where you go. The plays might be different. The stadiums might be
Well,
different,
I
but
mean,
it's the same. Your goal.
yes and no. I mean, you got
No,
to
man,
admit,
come on with that, man. I'm just saying.
SEC is a little bit faster.
I understand that the SEC, but no, it's football. Football is football no
I
matter where
understand
you
that.
play it. Football is football no matter where you play it. And I'm trying not to go into the Shannon Sharp, but let's be real. Your goal is to either get 10 yards in 4 plays or to get from this point to the other guy's end zone and do that repeatedly and have more points than them at the end of the game. That's the simplicity of the game. Now, how you go about doing that might be the complicated part. But this boy been playing football, I would imagine, since he's 5 or 6 years old. He ain't figured it out yet. That's all I'm trying to say.
No, I got you. I understand. I mean, at the same point, you can't deny that different conferences like that. I mean, like coming from where he came from, you know, and we got it. There's other fighters. There's other fighters involved, like the protection. You obviously got to have O-line protection, that kind of stuff like that. But I mean,
and their offensive line is doo-doo.
It's trash. Yeah, it's
their
trash.
offensive line is doo-doo.
Yeah,
like their offensive line. I mean, now
but let's be honest. How many quarterbacks have changed conferences, right? And had immediate success. I mean, I have to go look that up. I don't even know. So I'm saying that would be a good thing.
Conferences and had immediate success.
Yeah, I mean, like say, you know, like his situation, like
Cam
to the
Newton.
SEC. Cam Newton, where did he come from? Like, I don't even know. I can't remember.
No, I take that back. He was at. I'm sorry. He was in the SEC. He was at Florida. Then he went JUCO. Then he came back to Auburn. But he didn't really see much playing. He didn't see a lot of playing time. But he didn't see a lot of playing time. He didn't see a lot of playing time because that was the Tim Tebow era. So he got his first real college playing time at a junior college. So he came from a junior college to the SEC and he found success. But there was already a blueprint that was built for him to be successful.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with what you're saying. Like, I guess Sean put it better in words than I did. You know, maybe they don't do well in systems they're not used to. Basically, is what I should have said. Sometimes, you know what I mean.
But you know, I mean, okay, all right, and I'll give you that. And it's the thing for me is it's hard for me to. I know he's an anomaly, but that guy that was a 6th round draft pick from Michigan that Kate loves so much, but you know, he played in the same system pretty much in New England for most of his career. Then he came to Tampa Bay, and boom, he thrived.
His last name is the same as my son's name, right?
Now, did they adjust their system and bring in some pieces that Tom Brady needed? 100%. But at the same vein, Tom Brady's a very skilled player. Very skilled player.
Yeah.
You know, at the pro level, we saw Kurt Warner. Kurt Warner went from St. Louis to Arizona and had some of the same level of success. I mean, damn,
well,
there's a big difference in pro and college. What's that?
Yeah, I mean, it's NFL. No, that's the one commonality is NFL team. The NFL team is all the same caliber of players, right? My point was like coming from like the Pac-12 to the SEC. You know, you can't deny the SEC's fast. Like a defensive lineman. I mean, look at Big Baby. You know, he was a big boy. He ran a 4.6. You know, I mean, you're running for your life. If you're
I'm smiling because I know Sean has got his notepad right now and he's keeping account of how many times we mentioned Georgia. So Sean just went, I knew they couldn't get through a whole show.
I don't think we mentioned Georgia that much.
I don't think we have either. But
not even once, really.
well, just now. But I 100% agree with you. But at some point, you got to stop going, well, we just can't beat the SEC because they're better. I mean, if you're gonna play ball, you're gonna have to play ball because
that's in and of itself. That's the thing.
At the end of the day, and in this particular case for South Carolina, they just haven't shown me anything yet. I think that Shane Beamer can do great things for South Carolina. I think I want to. I mean, we're only 1 week in, and you never can tell. I've seen teams start off absolutely hard and then run the table and just have a great just kill the rest of the season. So now, having said that, key to the game for South Carolina is going to have to figure out that defense is what kept them in that game. Their defense looked really good. The defense is going to have to figure out a way to shut down KJ Jefferson, because if he can't beat you with his arm, he'll beat you with his legs. Period.
Absolutely right.
And that's going to be the key to the game for South Carolina. Arkansas is going to have to figure a way to keep the defense off of KJ Jefferson. That's I hate to simplify it, but that's about as nutshell as I could put that, man.
I mean, in South Carolina, their leading tackler was a defensive back with 5 tackles. So, I mean,
your
you got to do something with that.
Yeah, you got to get more out of your front seven.
Exactly.
Another game I want to touch on. Let's see. Another couple games here real quick. Kentucky, Florida. Kentucky. Let me see. Do I have my notes on Kentucky? I don't have my notes on Kentucky. Yep, I do. I have them right here. But don't have their win-loss total. I think we wound up. I had them going 11-1. You had them going 10-2. Now knowing that they don't have Chris Rodriguez and we don't know when he's coming back, I might have to adjust that total something. Which means that with him not having his leading rusher, that means that opposing defenses are just going to key up on his receivers.
Right.
So.
But there's already been bulletin board material. I can't remember who was it. Somebody from Kentucky already said something about Anthony Richardson. So he was gonna, be running for his life. I think it was one of the, I don't know, was it maybe a linebacker or something. I can't remember his name. I'll try to find it. There's already somebody said that. But
and we had
I'll definitely watch this game. So I'm looking at the line. The line, they got the Gators at 6.5, over at 51.5. Where's it at? Is it in Gainesville? Yeah, it's in Gainesville.
Yeah, that game is in the swamp. So I don't have my notes on that. I don't have. Wait a minute, is that Auburn? Yeah, I don't have my notes on that one. I think that we picked Kentucky to win that game. Then that because we did all of our picks based on what we saw last year and what their potential was. So I think you and I had Kentucky pick to win that game. I think Kentucky can still win that game, but they're going to have to. The receivers are going to have to ball out. 100% have to ball out. And so let's see the other game that I wanted to touch on really quick. Tennessee and Pitt. Josh Heupel's got those guys eating the Kool-Aid. He's got them drinking the Kool-Aid. There's the horn for Mr. Fingers. We got a flub there for Mr. Fingers. One time for Mr. Fingers with the flub.
Oh no!
Oh yeah! Eating the Kool-Aid. That's the new phrase. That's gonna be the new phrase. Eat the Kool-Aid. He's got him believing after that big win last week. I think. But Pitt looked really good. Against West Virginia. JT, their defense wore JT Daniels out.
For sure.
He still showed poise and grace under pressure, but their front five is nasty. So Tennessee, I hope you got something. I hope you short it up, strap up. That's all I got on that one there.
They picked by 6, so that's. I still see Tennessee's 24, Pitt is 17 now. I could see them. I could see Tennessee pulling away with this one. I think we did
get a comment from our boy AJ on the Facebook. He in terms of switching conferences, he said that Troy Aikman left OU and went to UCLA. Now, while I would say that was a step back, I'm also thinking of today's Pac-12, forgetting that at that point when Troy Aikman was playing, the Pac-12 was no slouch at all whatsoever. You had UCLA, USC were really doing things out there. Washington was also better than decent. BYU was winning. No, BYU was not in that conference. Was not in that conference.
Baylor was winning, right?
And now the Big 12 was also, but the Big 12 was also hella conferences. That was, I worked with a guy that played for the '85 championship team. He played with Boz. He's an IT guy working with me right now. That's real awesome. Real nice dude, real solid dude. What was the other game I said that we were going to talk about? Vanderbilt plays number 20, welcomes number 23 Wake Forest. Our good friend Sean Spencer called it. He said
3-0, baby.
He said there's a very real possibility that Vanderbilt could be 3-0 going into week three. Because remember, they played in week 0, so we're only on week 2. Vanderbilt's getting ready to play their third game in week 2. So by week 3, Vanderbilt could entirely be. I'm not really going to do a breakdown on that per se. But I am personally stoked for Vanderbilt. Okay. I know they're in the same division.
Let it be known.
I know they're in your pick has changed.
Who?
Sean said his pick has changed because Hartman is back.
What pick is he talking about?
Battle of the valedictorians. We got in the comments on Facebook there. AJ is killing me right now. Let's see. Did we even pick for Vandy? I think Vandy's one of the teams that we did not get to because we were going to do them last. So we did not get to them. But Sean said that Hartman is back, and so his pick has changed. To those of you that are just joining us, thank you for taking a little time away from NFL ball to stop by and say hi. We appreciate you very, very much. And we love you. We blow kisses to you and all of that good stuff. So not really. We're not blowing kisses or anything like that. But we appreciate you very much for stopping by and checking us out. This is episode number 23 of This Week in SEC Football. I am Mr. Fingers from Zagnif Central. That guy right there is Collin P, the brother from another, the sexy mother Hubbard. Collin P in the DMV. Collin P from the DMV in the SEC. So Hartman is back for this game. Yeah. Oh man, their star quarterback. Ooh, that might be ugly. That might turn ugly. That changes things a little bit, doesn't it? So we shall see. All right. Well, listen, that game comes on. Boop boop. Oh, I closed the tab already. Doggone it. That's it. I am winning today. I
think we're on the plus, Anthony. Hey, Fingers. I think we're on the plus this weekend. I think we're on the SEC Plus network, so I think you can.
Yeah, well, we're playing Samford. We are playing Samford this week, so I understand why we're on the SEC Plus this week. There's other games that are more fitting to be on the bigger. I mean, I still want to see it. But there's other games that they want to broadcast. They're expecting. This is the first game at Sanford Stadium this season. The fans are going to be crazy. But when they asked Sanford's coach what he thought about playing Georgia this week after their performance against Oregon, he had this to say.
Ain't nobody worried about no Georgia.
Is what he says. That coach says, give me that check. I don't care how much you beat us by, just give me that money.
Yeah, right. So we got that going on. But ladies and gentlemen, we're not, like I said, we didn't intend to keep you long. We didn't intend to do a whole hour show. We really were going to touch on 3 or 4 games that have some key consequences and repercussions for could have key consequences in the rankings in the conference and chances at getting to play in the conference championship and potentially maybe a national championship as well. We wanted to touch on those, but we thank you so much for stopping by and joining us today. Collin, my man, I didn't even do the thing for the 2-minute warning. We're just going to do a quick 2-minute warning here. And but before we do that, what did I want to do before we do that? Let's see. I'm gonna do. Let's talk about a couple. Let's see. Who do you think is going to show out this week?
Who do I think is going to show out this week?
Yeah, we're not gonna. We'll get more into them in the players of the week when we recap on Monday. But who do you think is going to really show up and show out this coming Saturday? I mean, I'm talking about individual players, and let's to make it a lot more fun. To make it a little more fun, we're gonna pull Bama and Georgia out of the pool of players available.
Yeah, I was gonna do that. I was not gonna go Georgia. Tell you what. I think Mike Wright's going to actually play well against Wake Forest. I think even though the quarterback's so I guess he's back for Wake Forest or whatever. I guess it's starting quarterback
Yeah,
or
he
whatever.
is.
So yeah, I think I just think he's just I think he's a talent that probably going to show his behind again this week. I mean, provided that his again a short supporting cast helps him out. He's got a good protection. I think they might give Wake Forest a game. To be honest with you, I think Mike Wright's going to be he's going to be a player of the week.
Okay. I'm going to do something that I don't normally do, not during the regular season. I'm going to give props to a Florida Gator.
I knew you were going there.
What?
My entire chest. Anthony Richardson. I think Anthony Richardson is going to have another phenomenal week. They're playing Kentucky. They're playing Kentucky at home. The crowd is behind him. The coaching staff is behind him. His teammates have rallied behind him. I think he's managed to rally the troops. I think he's going to have a really great game in the Swamp. I'm not going to put much on his numbers. I'm not going to make any predictions on those numbers, but I'm going to say he's going to throw for at least. I'm going to say he's going to throw for 275. He's going to put another 85 on the ground, and he's going to have at least a 4 touchdown combo between those two.
So you got to over 100.
Yep, that's my watch. That's my watch. This player of the week is Anthony Richardson of the University.
I was going to say,
and y'all can go ahead. Those of you watching this show right now, if you have the ability to do a screenshot, go ahead and clip that because that's going to be one of the few times you're going to hear me say that an active University of Florida player is going to have a great game, and I wish him well. Now, what were you going to say, man? I cut you off.
No, I was going to say the over-under is 51.5. So, I mean, like, you think it's going to be like, do you think it's going to be over? You think it's going to be a shootout? Do you think Anthony Richardson, I mean, do you think they're going to be throwing the ball? Or they're going to be running the rock? What are you going to do?
Well, it's going to have to be. It's going to have to be for Will Levis because he doesn't have Chris Rodriguez. Unless they have done some serious work with their backup running back, it's going to have to be a shootout on his part.
Well, I mean, Will Levis had no problem last week. He had 3 touchdowns, 303 yards. I mean, like
I know. That's what I'm saying. But the DBs are going, like I said, the DBs are going to queue up on him if they don't, like if they. After the first couple of series, I guarantee you they're going to feel them out and see what they got on the run game. And if their run game is not popping, they're going to start dropping back. They're going to start dropping 4 and 5 back in coverage, and they're just going to wait. So we shall see. I think, but I think Anthony Richardson is going to slice them and dice them up this week. For my 2-minute warning this week, I'm going to borrow one that Delilah gave us on Tuesday. Get plenty of sleep because sleep is essential. I'm going to tell you. It gets more and more essential the older we get. Collin, you can attest to this being your birthday today.
You remember? Hey, hold on, not to cut you off, but you can throw in the story about me almost missing you because I fell asleep on the couch sitting straight up. Remember when you was in the backyard and I told you?
Yeah. A couple of weeks ago, I'm in town and I'm like, "Where's Collin?" And I hit him up. I was like, "Where you at, bro?" He's like, "Oh man, I'm on the way. I fell asleep."
I fell asleep like this. I mean, I literally fell asleep like this on the couch. That's when you know you're getting old.
Regular as clockwork every day at work, somewhere between 1:30 and 2:15, my eyes start getting heavy. And we got those adjustable desks. So as soon as I start going, as soon as my day start going, the girl on the other side of the cubicle be like, "You get sleepy, huh?" Be like, "Yep."
Yes, ma'am.
Then I stand up, and then you tired when your legs start doing that. When you start like you go fall out. So it's like, oh, time for a walk. Gotta go because the boss man
wobble, but it don't fall down.
Boss man is not gonna see me fall out in the middle of the floor on my job because they were. What are you doing at night? Sleeping? Apparently not. Do you know how old I am? Do you? You know what happens? You know what happens to us when we get older, right? He gets sleepy quick.
Oh yeah, sleep anywhere too, in any position.
Dude, that's how my wife wanted to bet the Coming to America bet. You know about that bet, right?
No, I never heard that. What happened?
My wife and I have had a standing bet because I can recite the whole dialogue from the movie, right? And so we had a bet. The bet was if I get to the first half hour without doing any dialogue from the movie, she would take me anywhere in the world, not in the world, but anywhere I wanted to go eat. Not in the world, but in DC because we were living in DC at that point. I take you anywhere you want to eat, if you go through the first half hour. And I couldn't do it for the longest time. We were married. It was 6 years ago. 6 years ago when she finally won that bet. And at that point, we had been together for 7 years.
Wow.
And the only reason she won that bet was because I was working for the post office at that time. I had to work that day, but I had a light route. I got home. I said, let's watch Coming to America. You know, that's my birthday thing. I put the movie on. And I think I was nodding off, but because I heard, well, I'll be damned. You did it. And I said, what did I miss? And she said, she said, I won. She said, you won the bet. I said, I did. And yeah, but because I fell asleep.
You sleep talking, not sleep talking. You sleep talking.
Yeah. So anyway, just make sure you get sleep. Sleep is important. Eat well, sleep, get plenty of exercise. It's not a guarantee that you'll live forever if you do that, but you definitely have a better quality of life. And that's all I got for my 2-minute warning. What you got, Doc?
Yeah, man. So it's your boy's birthday. I just went another trip around the sun. And I'm 46 for y'all don't know. My birthday is 9876. So I'm, creeping up on Mr. Handy there 1 year at a time, keeping up on you. But no, I was just saying enjoy enjoy the time of your life. You know what I'm saying? I was talking to the guys at work in our little group chat or whatever, and I said, good morning, and evidently we were having a kind of a busy morning, and one of my buddies said, nah, far from it. I said, man, you know what? I said, I just had a birthday. I woke up. I was able to wake up. I'm vertical. It's a good morning, So just take the little things, as long as you wake up and you're vertical, that's what I say. Hey, ain't nothing that bad. You know what I mean? Everybody got their problems, of course.
Well, wait a minute. If you vertical when you wake up, that means you slept standing up.
No, I'm woke up and I'm vertical.
I got you. I'm just giving you.
Vertical.
I'm giving you a hard time, man. Damn. See, that's how I know you're getting old. You can't catch the punchlines on a joke. What does he mean? I don't get it. We woke up vertical. What is it? I was in the bed.
Hold on. This is third. This is number 3. So I mean that's probably why too. So.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, y'all go ahead and tell Collin happy birthday and good night, because he'll probably be conked out half hour later. I'm gonna hit it tomorrow. What you do last night, bro? Bro, I was still asleep in the studio in a chair in front of the computer.
It's like I went to bed at 9:30. It's almost 10 o'clock, quarter to 10. I went to bed. As soon as we log off, I'm gone.
Dude, you know how many days I have fallen asleep? I have fallen asleep in here trying to do post-show edits. It's like it's sad. It's sad. I'll be in here. I'll be like, babe, I'm going in here. I'm gonna do a few post-show edits for an hour or so, and then I'll be out. She's like, okay. She's just looking at me. Next thing you know, I'm like, yeah. Now I'm like, what? It's 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah, man. I'm definitely with what you said. Get your sleep, eat your stuff, eat right, do the best you can, and just enjoy every year you get to get to experience. That's me personally. I'm happy to get another trip around the sun. So.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, man. So listen, y'all, we appreciate you guys tuning in. We're going to let you get back to the ball game right now. It's my understanding. At the half, it is 10-10. The Rams just kicked a 68 yards? Jesus, the Rams just kicked a 68-yard field goal.
Well, it's in a dome. It's in a dome, though, right?
Yeah, but that's still that's the record now, though.
I didn't mean to make it sound like, it was nothing, but I mean,
Yeah, I mean, easier to kick a field goal in a dome with no wind and precipitation and stuff like that. But still, 68 yards. 68 yards is 68 yards. So kudos to him. We get an air horn for that. But we do appreciate you. We will be back on Monday, ladies and gentlemen, to talk the recap of this weekend's games. Appreciate you hanging around with us tonight. I am Mr. Fingers from Zagnif Central. Collin P from the DMV in the SEC, the Sexy Mother Hubbard, the brother from another ace of base in the place, in your face. Ain't got nothing to say if you can't play, because if you don't stay, it's still gonna be his birthday. That's another Mr. Fingers freestyle right there. Get an air horn for that. On behalf of myself and Collin P, we are OUWT out. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
Yeah.